Hey, Mike, what do Kelly Slater and PT have in common?
I don't know. They're both world champs?
Nope, they both own Endless Summer box set.
Oh my God, rad. You guys, you can get it too. The link's in the show notes.
On a slippery, big guns like Mark Fu. Trap jumping like a kangaroo.
Hey everybody, welcome to the QuiverCast, where we chat with surfers from all around the world, from all walks of life, and we get their story. Find us at www.thequivercast.com. I am Mike, your host. Let's get into the show. Hello, everybody. This is Mike here with the QuiverCast, and we have two special guests, actually, Mr. Will Smith and Jason Bennet of Chemistry Surfboards. How you guys doing?
Doing great. How about you?
I'm good.
Right on.
Good. Thanks for having us, Mike.
So, Chemistry Surfboards, you guys are having a 20th anniversary, like this week, right?
This Friday, yes, sir.
Okay. So let's start at the beginning. How did you guys even start Chemistry Surfboards? How did it all begin?
I'll throw that to Jason.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I could start that off and then I'll leave it. Let Willie take it over as it progressed. Okay. So I was riding for Michael Barron, who's a local shaper, still shaping today. I think started riding from when I was 14 years old, and he had a label, Burn Surfboards from Australia. They licensed, and he was just starting a team, and I got onto his early team as an amateur, and I ended up staying on his boards, and I turned professional riding his boards. And as time progressed, the label, I was into my mid 20s, and the label started getting a little bit older, and he came up with an idea with another friend of ours, basically like, hey, I want to start something fresh and youthful. And they already had the name. He's all, I got this name Chemistry, and I want you to kind of be help out with it and be the face behind it and help me come up with creative ideas. And I wasn't shaping at the time, or I wasn't doing anything with surfboards. And my God, it sounds fun. I was already into, doing creative stuff. I was always into art and just staying creative, music and whatnot. Anyway, so that it was born there. It was a talk at Johnny Manata's, which is a local Mexican restaurant, and we started almost the next day. We went and, got a checking account and filed for a fictitious business name that week. He already had infrastructure, so with Burn, he's been down here since 1983. So he was the first actual surfboard factory in this valley.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's been down here a long time.
Yeah.
We're very thankful of hit that infrastructure. Early stages of Chem, it really helped it out. I went under his wing, and we had this idea, and a new brand with some youthful energy, and to add some elements of, art, music, and whatnot. And, it started from there. And at the beginning, I was still traveling. I was riding for Hurley, and I was going around the world still and trying to shoot photos and do contests. So I was just riding the boards and putting stickers or,
You're pushing the brand.
Pushing the brand, pretty much. I was marketing the brand, and he was shaping the boards. Yeah, so that was the start of Chemistry.
Wow, okay.
And then fast forward to me and Will grew up with each other. Well, we met when we were like 17.
16.
Okay.
16,
Yeah.
17. Surfing.
I was driving.
Yeah, that's surfing the pier. And so Will was always, always active surfing, and I gravitated towards him because he was always in the water, and he was, he had great energy about himself, and we hit it off. And at the time, as I was pushing the label, he was riding the boards already, and we need more help. You know what I mean? It was me. Mike was still doing Burn. It was pretty much me and my friend Jeremy Height, who was involved with the brand too, but he was off doing something else. So it was pretty much just me doing the label, and I need help. And Will was like my right-hand man at the time. He was living at my house sometimes. I was living at his house. We were traveling, going to Fiji together, Hawaii, all over Australia. Like we were just
just as friends
hanging out. Yeah. We were, we surfed every day together. He had a pass on base. We surfed a ton of DMJs at the time. Like every day we were over there or at Southside the Pier. Anyway, it was just natural that I was like, hey, Will, I need help. You want to do this? And that was I was already about 3 years into Chemistry at the time. I just started shaping. I think.
It was it was the start of the third year of chemistry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's been there pretty much from the beginning. I'd say those first 2 years we were just crossing our T's and dotting our I's and like making sure all the business was right. And, you know, Mike was shaping the boards and I was pushing them for wherever I could. You know?
Just surfboards or was the clothing?
We had like tees and hats and stuff, but mostly just surfboards. But at the time, like I said, I was traveling and being like the sponsored young kid. So I wasn't there every day and like putting everything into it because I was, you know, doing
other contests.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and he came to me and he's like, hey, we need help. He had just started shaping and I didn't really have much going on. So I was like, you know what? I think I can bring value to it. I'm good with people. I think I can sell stuff.
Okay.
And when I came in, I know the first thing when I looked, I go, so how does this work? Like, it was like you had order cards pinned on a cork board. Yeah. And I'm like, are these boards getting made or are these done? Or
I remember you saying
and I remember vividly, they're like, these are done and these need to be picked up. And I'm like, okay, have these people been called? And they're, yeah, some of them have, but some, and I'm like, this is crazy.
It was unorganized.
Unorganized.
But it was small. It was infancy stage to the point where there wasn't a lot of customers. There wasn't a lot of boards being made. So it was easy to kind of wrangle.
And sorry to interrupt, but
no, it's all good.
And I was just jumping in the room a year prior to the shaping room. And at that time, we were all hand shaping every board. So I was developing models with Mike and drawing up templates. And I was just like, my head was I'm like a tunnel vision person. When I get into something, I'm just super like uber focused on that. And I was just like, Will, if you're coming in, like I need you up there. I'm going to get in here and learn this and do it as best I can. So it was so vital him coming in for me to like really like tune in on the craft of like really getting into like shaping a good surfboard. And it took years, you know, and I wouldn't be where I was without him out front dealing with coming in, creating some type of structure. Cause Mike was the same thing. Mike was doing burn, but he was in his shaping room. I'm in my shaping room. No, he would help Mike with his customers too at the time. Like Willie was always up front. He was always dependable. He was likable. And it grew quick. Like he came in, I was shaping, I was in there every day doing, 3 to 5 hand shapes a day for years on end. The orders started like snowballing. We were doing trade shows. Every customer we got, it was like, okay, we got another guy, and he returned. And then he returned again. And we've got this group of guys that would get a board a month. Mm-hmm. And then, and it just snowballed. And like I said, going back to it, is I was in that room and Will was out front. And it just started like, that was the first branch off the tree, and then obviously it had expanded.
Yeah, and it was a key component to the success because of how tunnel vision he was on making a good surfboard.
Yeah,
he's like, okay, I'm going to be the best shaper I can be, and I'm going to be hyper focused on it. I come in and I'm like, I'm going to be the best I can be for the customer and make them feel comfortable spending X amount of hundreds of dollars on a toy and, be stoked and walk away feeling confident, especially like with the fact that he hadn't even been shaping all that long. You know what I mean? Like I had to have full confidence in him. Like, oh, he knows what he's doing. He's going to shape you the sickest thing. He worked under tutelage of this gentleman and this gentleman.
Yeah, he always had my back. Yeah.
And it's just like
snake oil at the time.
But people freaking left happy and the boards worked and
that's all
and it worked out that way. And it was able to progress so rapidly and be sustainable for so long just because he honed in on what he had to do and I honed in on what I had to do, the best of our capabilities.
Okay.
Yeah, and I got to say those early stages, though, there was a lot of sacrifice at the time. Like I had to back off doing my surf, being sponsored. Willie gave up everything and we worked odd jobs. Like Willie he was QCing Rusty's at the factory that we were in, driving down to Rusty. Delivering them. We judged contests on the weekends, whatever it took. Like we were taking peanuts out of the company. We did it for years upon years. Mm-hmm. Like I maybe getting a small check from, I think Desi was helping me out at Planet Earth for a couple of years at that time.
Shout out to Scott Desidero.
Yeah, Desi
for
awesome,
relieving that stress. Yeah. Of someone that's supposed to be honed in and making a good surfboard and not necessarily having to worry like, oh shit, I need money. Like,
especially when he knew that like I wasn't going to be out there serving. He's like, I'm going to take care of you. And he did. I was really appreciative of that.
Big time.
But so there was a lot of sacrifice in the beginning. I mean, there still is.
You guys saw a bigger vision.
We did, and we did.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have done all that, right?
I think it's like going into like that childhood kid in us that like we at the time, we loved surfing, we loved the lifestyle, we loved the culture, but we were traveling, we were meeting people from Australia, Fiji, all these places, and we're like, this is what we want to do. And how do we stay in this? How do we don't have to work a 9 to 5, or we could and we were traveling a lot of the time, and the money we were making, we were putting back in the company. We were going places. We were like Central America, whatever would pop up. We're like, okay, let's do it. We're going to Japan. We're going here. We're doing a trade show here. We put credit cards. We're just swiping them because we're like trying to keep up the lifestyle of surfing, traveling, and at the same time building this company that would sustain it.
Yeah, definitely. Like those early stages of trying to hold on to that lifestyle and that culture, and every opportunity that came up, like, oh, we have these people that maybe want to distribute our boards in Japan. We're like, okay, I guess we're going to Japan. Yeah. Like, let's do this. And Jason's like, I've been there like 4 times. I know what it's like. The food's good. The beer's good. We're like, let's do it. And we're gone, And then, the East Coast. The East Coast is a huge integral part of this business thriving. And a lot of that had come from prior relationships Michael Barron had with his vendors, and he would bring in us in terms of like, oh, I got this other brand, Beyond Burn. And we come in there and then thank him for opening that door, but we're the one that kept it open. We're the one that freaking fed that relationship and kept it and blossomed it. And we would go everywhere to try to make it happen and sacrifice all kinds of things,
You're sacrificing, but you're also having a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
This is a struggle story, isn't it? I thought that was supposed to be like dramatic, man. Come on now. No, it was fun, and it was
I get that.
Yeah, and you couldn't take back those. I couldn't take back those times, for anything. I mean, the people that we met that are still like in our lives today. We're struggling and having fun. How about that? There was a good yin and yang to it. It was like we weren't making a lot of money. Our relationships were failing with like the girls that were in our lives at the time. Maybe even family, some friends. But, we weren't burning bridges at the time either. We were, we were trying to be as young, responsible adults, but still have as much fun, I guess, as we could.
Yeah. Okay. And honest. I mean, honesty. Like straight up, like, we wanted to travel, we wanted to have a good time and all that type of stuff. And we were honest about it, honest to ourselves and honest to maybe those relationships that didn't, blossom and whatever. Okay. Like we didn't lie. Yeah. We're like, hey man, we're going here. We're going to go get waves, or we're going to meet cool people and try to build the business. It wasn't a lie. So,
okay. You guys being both from Oceanside, how did that affect you guys?
Well, at the time, there was not much industry in Oceanside whatsoever besides building surfboards, and there wasn't that many brands at the time. Obviously, like bringing Mike up again, you had MB, you had people glassing surfboards, you had a lot of CIs getting built at the lab. I don't think Bill Johnson was here yet. There wasn't that much industry. There's, you had Javier over there doing the XTRs. The surf community was small. We all knew each other. And we all really got along, and we were all a little tight. It was like one big family, and I think we all kind of helped. There was one industry that was, I think, integral to our earlier help in the brand would be Transworld. They was right 2 doors up, right?
Yeah.
And
the largest media company, around. Was
sure. And a lot of our friends worked there. Their sales reps. They worked with the publishers. They were the editors. We knew, 20 of the staff. They employed a lot of our friends that were in the skate surf community. And they helped us out a lot. A lot of connections. A lot of connections. Say if they wanted to do a review on a surfboard, they needed help or a photo of a guy shaping, they would come to us and take a photo of us shaping. Cool. They wanted to talk about like concaves, they would come talk to me and MB. Modeling, really, whatever it was, like, his hand, or something just stupid, whatever it was.
That's a highlight. That's a highlight of my life right there. Hand model for Transworld magazine.
I'm just saying,
No, for sure. I think that was you.
Whatever it was. Just dumb stuff. But they would come to us. So, that was one part of the industry that was around that helped us out.
All right. So how was the surf community? Most people started getting your guys' boards, the local guys?
Our age group, right? So we had
your
like,
buddies.
we're in our 20s, right? So we had like all of our group of friends riding them. Then we'd have like our like younger Groms riding them, but we didn't have a lot of the older like guys. I'd say in their like late 30s, early 40s. Mike was still making a lot of their boards.
They didn't trust it yet.
Yeah,
they trusted like the Michael Barons or the Jim Weldons or the Gary Lindens,
Yeah.
those type of guys that have been doing it for a long time.
yeah.
They were looking at us like, oh, the kids like
we're putting up stickers around town. We're going
this
up.
kid's gonna shape my surfboard. Like, hell no, man.
Yeah.
Gary's been making my boards for 55
Right,
years or
of
whatever.
course,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So like, that was a hard part to break into that demographic, and we just had the trust and just like that bro type of thing. Like, yeah, dude, I'm gonna get Jason to make me a board, or someone I knew from some other walk in life.
Or-
Like,
and just-
oh, you're making surfboards now?
Yeah.
I'll get one. Cool, and it just blossomed from there. Like keeping those people happy, making them a good board, whatever, and then it just grew from that, But it was hard. It was hard to like acquire customers, like me calling
Oh yeah, in the beginning.
retailers or whatever, and like,
To get your board in the shop?
Yeah, like take a chance on us. Well, we already got this one, that type of stuff. And then we found a way, we found a way not to be so reliant upon them, like calling these people and go visiting these people. We found a way to build the brand, and it was through like customer service and taking care of these people. You can see it to this day in an industry that, if you're relying on the retailers all the time, it gets hard sometimes because the retailers can't always take surfboards.
Yeah.
But we'll have people across the world that want a true custom product, and they know they can come here and get it done. Whereas a lot of these bigger brands, you're not calling up so-and-so and being like, hey man, like, can you put a bat wing tail on this longboard fish nose thing, like, you can't get that access.
Well, yeah, it's true.
Where we've been accessible for 20 years. It's a gift and a curse.
Yeah,
because
100%.
you
You
got
see it
people
when you come in.
knocking on the door when we're trying to do a podcast to show us some signs. Like, it's like
All day long, yeah.
all day long. It's like someone, hey man, what's up? It's like,
And we got to stop, but we're used to it. We know how to address it. And, you've got to be cordial with them, and you've got to show them respect because they're respecting you. They're coming to you because they respect you and they value what you're building. And so you always have to have that.
and they're giving their money, dude. They work. They work
hard
all
money.
that hard ass money, and they're like, oh, I'm going to fork out all this for what you got for me. So we got to treat them with respect. Yeah.
So then, Jason, you're shaping and you're getting the hang of it.
Right.
Are you loving it, or what's your thoughts on shaping, or does it just work?
I mean, I was struggling at the time because I tell you, these guys helped me, but they didn't help me in the fact that like they'd show me, but not show me. Right?
Other shapers, you mean?
Yeah. So they give you bits and pieces, and I get it now where I'm at. So I'm getting bits and pieces, and I'm learning, and I'm learning the hard way. Like I said, I was hand shaping everything, asking questions if I could. Didn't want to ask too much, like not getting something, but embarrassed to ask. You know what I mean? Like a little kid in school doesn't know a math problem. Like something simple. So in the beginning, it was stressful because at the same time, I'm like, I have to shape these boards so Willie gets his check at the end of the week so we could pay our bills. Ultimately, the customer likes the board. So I had all this stress of like, okay, it's got to be a decent board the person likes. Got to make sure it's done by this date. And, so I had these stresses. And I think once I started letting go and I started just going, okay, and that's hours upon hours where I said, you know what, just do you. And like, don't look at everybody else and what they're doing is when I started coming to my own where I'm like, okay, this is how I do it. And that took years. But yeah, so I'd say the infant stages, it was a struggle of just, I never was this backyard guy. I didn't go, well, I can't say that. Me and my dad used to strip down boards when he was alive, and I might have said that. I've always was into resin and foam and surfboards and stuff, but I was never once at this time of my life. I wasn't building boards. I wasn't this kid in the backyard like building boards. I came into it right into a business that had bills the next day, that had responsibilities the next day. So I had to make it work, and also had to make a good surfboard. So I had to know my craft and I had to know business, and it was just like I had to next day. So it was like right in my face.
Yeah, that can take away from art.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, for sure. Well, it becomes a job.
Yeah, it becomes a job. It's like, it's no longer like, oh, I'm in there like,
gotta eat.
Very fine-tuned scrubbing. You're like, dude, I gotta get this shit done.
Both me and not like a sob store, we both don't come from money. I have a single mom at the house. Or did, and living on my own by the time I moved out, like the day I turned 18. Willie was on his own at the time. So we weren't these kids at our parents' house. He was on his own. I was on my own at a young age. So we didn't have a fallback plan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Willie, on the business side, that's what you ran, right?
Yeah.
So what does that consist of? Besides customers, are you ordering the blanks? And you like who's doing all that? What's the business side?
The business side is, getting the materials,
okay.
paying the bills, taking care of the customers, shipping the surfboards. Everything from
Budgets.
accounts receivable, payable, budgets.
I'd say
It's hard to kind of quantify.
Yeah.
if I could interject, I'd
go.
say that we both wear a lot of hats, and he knows how to go in the back and work on a surfboard, and I could come up and deal customer service. We both could do a lot of things here. But obviously, like, we know what we do best, and we try to stay in our lane. But Willie could go back there and work on a board. I could come up here and run a card, or like work on accounts receipt, like, the P&L statement. Like, we know the business like the back of our right hand. You know what I mean? So we play a lot of parts, but I can't even say what you do because you do so much. And the same thing, I'd say it to myself.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm like trying to come up with things that I do. It's like literally there's so many different things, and it's
We run the business. How about that?
Yeah, I don't like to put it in a box.
Well, you guys, so every time I've come in here, either order a board or something, you guys are always working. Like, you guys, they're not screwing around.
No, I wish we were screwing around.
Well, we got 13 people here, right?
Yeah.
Coming and going, and if you've ever managed people, it's not an easy task.
Oh, yeah.
And you're where everything stops. So you're reliable for everything, and to make sure that the person's happy with that board, you got to make sure everything in that puzzle is in its place, or they're not going to get the nice surfboard, or what they wanted. And so we're constantly working on these guys, going back to various stages of the boards. I mean, you could even you're dealing more so with the customer and the production end when I'm in the room. So this is a good place I think you could speak on.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts. That's all it. I mean, like, from start to finish, from me putting the order down on an order card perfectly and legible for everyone down the line to do the right job. Even then, that more than likely, sometimes they don't do the right job. Like, so it's like going back there, making sure, what are you doing with that? Like, do this, whatever. So getting it through the whole chain of command, I guess, back up front to me and into the customer's hand, it takes a lot of walking through from both of us.
Yeah.
Like, he goes back there, he's like, what are you doing? What is this? And he's like, that has nothing to do with, whatever, or someone not showing up. There's a lot of that in life in general. Like, oh, my kids, whatever, it's like, okay, life has happened, but it's not like we have like major depth. Like a football team, there ain't like third string that we're like, all right, you're in. It's like, oh, there's the starting quarterback's out. Who's the quarterback?
So that's where we
the
pick
running
up
back's
the
quarterback,
pieces. So we've had to learn to do every job throughout this whole factory.
And then how does that affect you?
I think
mentally.
one, the business, it puts a step behind, because as we should be going forward, it feels like as we take 2 steps forward, we're 4 steps back, because it's like as we should be promoting the brand and marketing the brand. Yeah. I'm worried about this little air bubble that Mike's about to pick up his board. So here I am with a Dremel in the back, Dremel in the air bubble, putting sun cure it where I should be shaping that board, going home to surf with my family, or like me and Willie working on our distribution deal in Europe. You know what I mean? But here I am. And that's because we're hyper-focused on our product. That, like, we want to make sure every board that somebody gets, it's the best quality we possibly can put out. And it doesn't always happen.
Yeah. It's a lot of wasted, in a small business like this, a lot of wasted energy where that energy could be focused on progression. Yeah. And it's hard to, wasted is a bad word, because us taking the time to fix something to make your board perfect, that's not necessarily wasted. It's going to make you happy and make you come back, tell your brother, your cousin, your uncle to come in, whatever. So like, it's kind of that weird thing. It's like wasted energy where we should be thinking about this or that and moving forward instead of going back there and fixing some little minuscule dumb thing. Yeah.
So when you guys started, you guys realized you're going to be as big as you are? What was your dreams? Did you have dreams?
I mean, I think at the end of the day, like, I remember telling MB at the time, I was like, man, I just want to be able to wake up, go down to the beach, get a surf in, work, go home, relax, wake up, do it again. I wanted to keep the lifestyle. So that was the number one dream, is keeping this lifestyle of like I was able to like no one tell me what to do. I could go leave right now, go have lunch, or it turned off. Sure, I'm going to go surf. That was number one, keeping lifestyle. And I think we've just been our heads down. So, I still feel like today was the first day that when we started. I don't think we're that big. I feel like we've just started. Like I told my buddy David that was in earlier, I'm like, man, I felt like our 10-year anniversary, which was at the Privateer, which was like the first year they opened. We had our 10-year there. That I go, man, that felt like that was like two years ago, and that was 10 years ago. So we're like, we come in, it's like the first day that we started chemistry, head down. Well, how can we do the best job we can today? And I'm always like, how do we, if we keep that mentality, it's going to keep growing. And it has, it took a while. But, as we plant the seeds, we water it, are these branches, now we're seeing fruit, you know what I'm saying? And now we're able to grab it. It's not as, we're like, okay. But we haven't tasted it yet.
Any thoughts, Willie?
On what, the dreams?
Yeah. What was your dreams?
I mean, for me, just, like very similar to Jason, like live a comfortable lifestyle where, I've worked a ton of different places and had to be there at a certain amount of time and do some asinine job, you know what I mean? Whereas this was like, hey, we're building a brand, creating something fun. We're building Surfcraft, being able to go travel and visit people and, see cool places and all that stuff. That was, I guess the dream is just to keep this going in a positive direction.
So how do you guys feel 20 years later? You kind of said it already, Jason. It feels like it's just started.
Like I said, like we're having the 20-year anniversary on Friday. And it doesn't seem like it's 20 years. And I this week, a lot of people have been coming to us like, wow, awesome. And then when we start getting that from other people, I'm like, whoa, okay. We are kind of like
customers or
customers,
like other
friends, people hitting us up, DMing us, just like, congratulations, because to make it, to make it that long, we've been in partners for 17 years, so that's successful in its own right there. But just the brand and we've been on this, and if I stop and think about it, everywhere we've been, everybody that's rode our boards, the different spots, like we've been on this uphill, the company's been growing. It's just slower pace. It's slow paced, it's like, it's steady.
Yeah.
But like when I stop and take myself outside of that tunnel vision, I'm like, okay,
Yeah, for sure. I was going to say, like when you're in the thick of it, you're just kind of grinding it. You're okay, function, go day to day, day. But you step out and someone like says, damn, dude, 20 years? That's crazy. Like I've owned my business for 6 years. The first 3 years was the hardest. And I'm like, shit, I don't even remember the first 3 years I was there. 6 years. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that is an accomplishment. Yeah, that's a long ass time, and in small business time frame. So like when you step out of it and somebody maybe acknowledges it, or you just kind of shit, that is a long time.
Yeah.
Like,
I think when you think back to all the things that have happened, the fire, people trying to sue us, team riders, so then you're like, wow, we have gone through a lot, you reflect on it.
And things, I always say it, they're like, oh, what do you think about the pandemic or the recession or whatever it may be? And I'm just like, okay, bring it on, I guess. Cause it's like, getting in this business, like Clark Foam closed down.
Yeah,
they're like
the first, second year.
Second year I was here, I'm like, okay, well, we don't have foam to make surfboards.
Yeah.
Like
you're driving out.
I make surfboards. Like I'm driving way the hell out to like Menifee, East County, Menifee, Marietta, or whatever to get blanks from a guy making them in his barn and shit. And then straight up. And then you got like situations like Hurricane Sandy. Okay. A lot of our business was on the East Coast. All that shut down because they get wiped out, and it's
we fronted all the invoices. Like, take you here. That's our gift to you guys. We can help. Like stuff like that.
And that's just selfless, I guess. Like, you guys need help. Your shop is gone.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to be like, hey, dude, you owe me $1,500 for those 4 boards. I mean, like, they're gone. Fukushima. We have such a huge Japanese business. They have a nuclear meltdown. No one can surf. Like, it's just like, okay, what's next? 2008. No one has money. Like straight up, like
we just
no one
opened
has
a new
money.
Factory at the time. We just moved from MB's into a spot across the street.
No, what did you do during the pandemic? I'm like, I went there and made surfboards with Jason and the team. Like it's straight up. Like we go.
And we were
go.
like, I remember the first couple months, they're like, well, nobody go to work. That one day we're like, they're going to have to pull me out of here by my hair because I've worked way too hard. And I'm like, oh, we're working. They would have to literally come down here at the Army and pull us out. Like, I'm like, hell, I'm going to go back and shape a surfboard. Yeah. But there was like that one day, I think, when they're like, nobody could go to work.
Yeah, we're like, shit. Dude.
Did you guys go to work that day?
We went to work, yeah. We locked the door though, like you're looking out like someone's good. Like
this building burned down, Mike.
Yeah, no, I know.
And we had no electricity, no water.
You guys were in there working?
You cannot be in the
we
building.
came in, they
came in, we borrowed a generator from a friend.
No way.
They red taped us. And we're like, oh, hell no.
Yeah, they red taped us. Like, it's not safe. I'm like, the building's up.
Yeah.
Like, over there is burned. We're up. Like,
we made surfboards.
We keep going, dude. You got to, dude. We got kids.
Like I said, going back, dude, we're survivalists. Like, no matter what, like, we're cut from a different mold, you know? So not to, like, toot our own horns, but...
that could be the ocean side in us. You know
there you go.
Like, we got to keep going. Like, straight up.
You guys are a relatively big surf industry surfboard manufacturer. How do you guys keep it so personal? Like some of the bigger shapers that maybe started around the same time as you guys? It kind of lost touch with maybe, I would think.
Maybe staying grounded, in the sense of we're still in the same place where we started building. We're 2 doors away or across the street away. So I think by being accessible, like you were saying earlier, the doors open. And that we're still, I'm in the water every day. I've seen this whole next generation of the kids coming up, so I still surf. My family surfs. I love it, no matter what. I've surfed Oceanside 5,000 times. And I'm still like going down there like, all right, I've surfed a day like this probably 15 times, but all right, I'm back out there. Yeah. A little bored, but I think we're just still part of the culture. You know what I mean? We're not going into it. We're not vultures. We're not taken from it. We're adding to it,
Yeah, we're accessible. Accessibility, the personalities, like people don't come in here and go, oh shit, Will's a dickhead or fucking.
They might.
I can't talk to Jason because he's difficult or whatever. I mean, there probably is, here and there.
Yeah.
There's a case, but like, they can come here, and a lot of times, I think when companies get a little bigger or whatever. Like they kind of pull away. Willy Wonka it.
Yeah.
And then they realize they can't sustain on being behind the closed doors and they got to open up the chocolate factory to let them in and figure.
And you see that,
and you see it a lot. You see
reinvention of themselves.
And we do customs and da-da-da-da. And it's like.
We make them here.
We've been doing the same shit. We're not changing it. The script is still there. Take care of the customer, make the best surfboard we can, and stay true to the culture, to the industry. Straight up there.
So you guys never had a talk together saying we can go overseas or we can do this or that?
We've had offers. We've had people like, hey, we could do this model, we could do that, and we've never done it. I mean, there's been times where like, man, we want to make some more margins, but we're like, I mean, one, like it goes against what we do in especially this zone. Like I have respect for my elders, and there's been a lot of people that put a lot of time in building American made boards right in this area. And it's just not a good look, for us to go do it. I couldn't sleep at night just to make an extra zero on my, or a few more zeros on my end of year report. Like it's just not a good look.
Yeah. And the whole from a country scale and like trying to bring a lot of industry back to the States and all that type of stuff. Like this is an industry we can still save, We are still in America making a handmade product. And they'll be like, some people you'll talk to them like, well, what about that iPhone in your pocket and this and that? I'm like, true. No, dude, this is something we can still save. Right. I can't save an iPhone from being made in China and the chip in Taiwan. I don't, this is something that we can do.
And we build. We don't build iPhones.
Yeah, we build this here. So for us to just roll over and be a part of the problem, like
just for an extra
whatever, it's like whatever. We're able to pay our bills. We're able to feed our families. Things are good here now, as of today.
Yeah.
Of building boards in America. So why?
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Okay. So you talk about Oceanside and, giving respect to the older shapers and stuff. But there's a lot more shapers than you said when you started, Jason. And how do you feel? What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, there is. I mean, I think people
They moved in.
I mean, it was, it was a diamond in the rough where it took a while for them to dig for it. And then they're like, oh, wait a minute, I can move there. It's cheap to wait. There's always waves. And it's been an influx in the last 5 years. I mean, if surfers, people in general, there has been actually, I don't know if there's as many shapers. There was at a time, there was a lot of people having factories here. I think there's a lot of glass factories here now. There's a lot of people glassing boards.
I think it goes through waves. Like there was, I mean, I guess it was like a few years ago where people were like, everybody wanted to be a shaper. Yeah. It's like a rock star thing, And I guess the generation before that, everybody wanted to be a pro surfer. Right. And there was a lot of that, I don't know where it's going. I see a lot of phasing out. Yeah. It's hard.
There's a lot of, I'd say there's a lot of.
It's hard and expensive. So
once I think they figure out how hard it is to build a board when you're actually funding it yourself. And then you're like, oh, this ain't what it's cracked up to be. Especially if you're like, I'm doing 20 boards a week. Well, that's a lot of bill behind that 20 boards a week. You're going to owe a lot of people. You got to make sure those people are picking those boards up, and that money's coming up quick because they're going to be knocking on your door for that money. You're not going to get
circle going back to it takes away from the heart,
For sure.
When you have to like face reality, like the glass factory across the street that glass your board, like, hey dude, you got to pay this invoice because I got freaking 25 people waiting to be paid. Like, and you're like, well, dude, like my board's sick though, man. Like, no, man, pay me for the surfboard. Like, so when reality sets in for, I guess, a lot of these people that want to be shapers.
So it flushes out. I think the real dudes are here. You have the MBs, you got the Dave Bars, you've
guys have been doing it for a long time.
You've got these two, and they're still here. Yep. And you talk to them, they're the same.
They might be trapped, but
that's a good question.
That's all good. No, I love all those guys.
I gotta say, going back in that question of shapers, I think there's more brands starting to come to Oceanside. I mean, you have a lot of these overseas brands showed up the last 2 years. You have, Paizel's came here last 4 or 5 years. That's a huge brand. Yeah. You have the surfboard broker who's getting boards from everybody in the in the
world, maybe. I guess
they're bringing a lot of boards in North County. So there's a lot of surfboards in this zone from brands from overseas, from the local guys like us building boards, and from the used boards. I mean, there's a few used board sales places around there. I don't know all their names. So I'd say there is an influx of surfboards in North County, especially Oceanside and Carlsbad. There's a lot of surfboards around here, and there's gonna come a time where it's gonna need a purge because there's only so many boards that can be in this little area.
And I always try to, that is true. 100%. There's a shit ton of surfboards around here from all different types of people. But I think the people that do surf and care about their surfing, their lifestyle, whatever, they're going to get a good board. They're going to get a good board made for them, made by someone that they know that surfs, that cares about surfing and the culture and whatnot. So, I mean, a lot of people will come in here. I mean, we used to have like a lot of people come in and be like, hey, you got any used boards? And I'm like, yeah, they're up there, man. They're hanging up. Now, a lot of people don't even look up there, dude. They're like straight up. They'll come over here and be like, oh, I've been writing this and I'm really wanting to progress onto this. They're hyper focused on them
progressing themselves,
being better at surfing or whatever it may be. And they know they can't get that from just grabbing something random off the rack. So going back to, us catering to the customer, the person directly and all that type of stuff, I think that's going to persevere. It's going to work out, So despite the flood.
Yep. How many boards have come through your hands, Jason?
You mean like shape?
Yeah.
I try to think of it. I stopped numbering.
Did you stop numbering?
Second year, but I mean,
second year?
I used to take everything. I had these papers where it was like every rocker measurement, every little bit, every thickness flowed through the whole board, and I numbered them.
That was when he was an artist.
Yeah. And then when it becomes production,
he's all board 24.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's you figure. I already know. I mean, shoot, it's over. I mean, we're 20 years deep. I'm way over 25. I'm way over 25. 30,000.
I would say.
Would you have them logged up on the computer?
It's hard to tell how many I
say you've been shaping solid for say 18 years,
Yeah.
right? Shaping solid, like every day coming
day.
in, doing 5 to 10, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So you can do that math. I mean, shit, he's probably around 20,000 surfboards.
Wow.
It's a lot of surfboards. A lot of rocker flows.
Yeah,
double
what's your-
concave.
Did you think you'd have that many? That's a lot of boards.
I mean, I actually don't even think about it now.
Yeah.
When I go in there, I put my headphones on, I go into this trance mode, and I always think about the person I'm shaping the board for and how when I'm working on the bottom, I'm always like thinking about the bottom, how this water is going to work on the bottom. Like, this is what's going to be on the ocean. So I'm always like, okay, how's this going to be on the bottom of the ocean? And
Do you
this
look to see like where they live? If you know them or
not that. I try to look at like who it is. You know, some of the people I don't know who it is, but I do always look at the name, and I was like, oh, who's this person? What's their weight? What's this? And it's pre-programmed a lot of the stuff, but I still will like, okay, if the guy's weighing a lot, I'll make sure I leave more in the rail. And I do like still play with my programs where I'm taking, some thickness out of certain spots for that person, but I'm always thinking of the person and how this board is going to work on the ocean. So going back in that television with me, it's like second nature. I go in there, headphones on, and I just start shaping.
All right. One more thing about shaping, and Jason, you got invited to the boardroom coming up?
Yes, sir.
So what's up with that? So you get to
Really excited.
compete?
Timmy called here about a month ago, and I've looked up to him since I was a little kid.
Oh, okay, right.
And he's another surfer shaper. He's another guy that stayed in the States building board. He's another one like us. He's got a brand. There's not many of us who actually have their own brand and their own glass factory doing their boards from start to finish.
Yep.
And he's one of them.
Much respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when he called, I was like, oh, heck yeah. You know what I mean? Like, this is going to be fun. And I know he's going to make it hard on us. So and I haven't been hand shaping all that much. So I was just thinking the other day, I'm like, okay, I got to start doing a hand shape a day to kind of get ready for it.
Yeah. That was definitely a nod to Jason and his craft for Timmy to call. Like, that's when he called, he's like, yeah, it's Jason Bennet there. I'm like, man, ask who's calling. He saw Timmy Patterson. I'm like, oh shit, what's this about?
Yeah.
And then when they started chopping it up in there, just yapping about the whole boardroom thing, I'm like, that's really cool that he reached out to him. And,
Yeah. Super rad.
That was awesome.
Yeah. It's testing. It tests your ability for sure. I've done it once before when they honored Simon. I did it, and that was a while ago now. That was 12 years ago.
12, 13 years ago.
But
Yeah,
it's
crazy.
hard. So it's like, you're in this uncomfortable room. People are looking in on you. And it's like, if you're not doing that every year, that boardroom show, it's like, you got to prep yourself for it.
Okay, that
'Cause you only
was
got
my
an hour and a
question.
half. Yeah, you got
So,
an hour and a half.
is it like mentally draining, like surfing the heat, kind of like?
I think it's like the prep prior, like, oh, do I make sure I have this tool, this sponge, this, and that? Once I'm in there and put the headphones on, I just go in that vision again. But it's like,
Are you going to put your headphones on?
oh, yeah. But it's like, it's that prep. It's the prep thinking about it. What shapes he's not telling us. Hey,
Right.
well, I try to ask, what are you going to throw at us? And I know it's going to be like a 6-channel double wing something, which I'd be psyched on because I do channels every day. So I'm like, give me one of those. Something I'm familiar with. But it's the thing. I think it's the anxiety of what he's going to give and make sure I have all my tools. Once I actually walk into the room, it's all right. It's just it's like anything where you get nervous prior to it.
Yeah. Build up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that sounds fun.
Exciting, yeah, for sure. Like I said, it's you're in this fishbowl and everybody's looking at you shaping. And you're like the center of attention. You got a bunch of backyard guys going, "Look what he's doing! He's doing this wrong," or everybody's gonna have their 2 cents, Yeah.
Oh, look how he uses a planer. Like I've sat out there when you did the Simon one or whatever, and I can like hear people like, "Oh yeah, look how he holds the planer." Like,
He's doing that
come
wrong.
on.
Are they saying it in a good way or a bad way or just
I don't
whatever?
know.
Negative. You probably have both sides, right? Those type of people.
Like they're trying to learn from you?
You probably have those, and then you have people that are the know-it-alls, right?
Yes.
So you have that yin and yang of it.
Okay. All right. So anything else about shaping or surfboards, manufacturing? You got a lot, 13 employees, you said?
We coming and
13,
going.
yes,
Yeah,
okay.
about anywhere from 10 to 13 on a given week, depends what's going through here.
Yeah.
We build boards every day. We do everything through here. I mean, if you want it, we do it from, you want a gun, you want a shortboard, you want a fish. We do resin tints, we do foil boards. We could build anything through this factory. Yeah. We got our own airbrusher. We have our own resin. Our color guy does all our resin work. We have a great guy that does all our white laminations. We got a really good team. They're really talented, a lot of years of experience. Our QC works some of the best in the business. So yeah, man, we can do everything. We're still, we're doing boards every day, and we have our ups and downs. We think it's going to get harder, and then it gets easier. Pandemic hits, all of a sudden things got easier. All of a sudden we had were turning work down, we're in a weird little standstill stage right now. We're busy with customs. The shops have slowed down, know.
I say, I mean, about surfboards and surfboard manufacturing, just support local, U.S. made products. That's it. Right. So, you live in San Clemente, go see, Timmy, go see Matt Biolis, see those guys. You know what I mean? Like straight up.
Yeah, it's a very, I think it's a
fragile.
What people don't understand is obviously you're not in it, but like if you could take anything out of this, like someone that's been in it, it's a very fragile industry. One little thing can mess it up for a long time. And so when these people do come in that are building boards from out of not in this country, and guys that don't build boards are not in they're sales guys. They come in and all of a sudden they start, I'm gonna sell surfboards. And they haven't ever got resin, or maybe they fix the ding when they're in the mentalized ones on a boat, but they don't even know, anything about surfboards, but they're selling it to the mass public. Yeah. And I'd say that's the most dangerous thing in our industry. And so anybody listening to this is like, it's a very fragile industry. And like Will said, support your local shaper.
Yeah. How do you educate them?
That's what I was about to say. Yeah. Education, like from the brands that do it here or the people that do it here. Do your best to educate your customer, your friends, your family. Customers that know, do your best to educate your friends, your family that are buying surfboards. That's the only thing we can do is like try to tell the story of how these things are made. And this is an industry that we can still save here in America making surfboards.
Yeah, and all these companies, they'll sell you it. They're good at, they got marketing budgets. They'll sell you how it's 1% for the planet, this, that, and third. But no one's ever seen videos of these factories going down and how these things are built and the labor that's going down over there. They say it, they'll sell it. But what's the truth? We'll never know. We know that they're making great margins on those boards. They're landing those things cheaper than we could buy a blank and a glass job for. Yeah. So, yes, I mean, if anybody's listening to this is our little educational piece. Yeah, that is very detrimental to the state of board building in the United States. And it's such a rich culture. These guys have been building boards here for years. A lot of all this modern stuff you see came from these guys, like, working really hard to like elevate these products that we're using now, and craftsmen that, they wanted to build a board and go to Hawaii for the winter and charge YMA. And like these guys, they were about it. They lived it. And then, and now we got those people making money off of all this hard work that we put in, and, and they fatten their pockets and like, yeah, I'm a surfer and I make a lot of money, but how about the culture of it? Like these guys have put their whole lives into this thing. But sorry, I could go on a rant on that.
I know. So a new question came up when I was about to wrap this up, but you guys are employing surfers probably that surf firsthand.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
As opposed to like maybe China or another country. I'm not gonna say, I don't know what country, Taiwan.
Yeah, not to like generalize any cultures or like go on.
If they don't surf, should that make a difference? It does to me, I mean, personally. You don't have to touch that. It's fine.
I mean, here's the thing is like, I know everybody in our factory, we have 3 senior citizens. These guys, they got arthritis. Like, no, we have a couple old guys that surf their whole lives. They don't really surf well, one of them doesn't surf anymore.
But they grew up in the culture.
They grew up in the culture. Every one of them.
So that's what I'm saying. These other countries, most likely they don't understand the culture of surfing.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
Yeah.
That gets into a weird place of who is elitist enough to be able to make a surfboard. Yeah. Like that's
well, I mean, so as a surfer, as just Joe Blow surfer, I want someone that I respect that maybe I surf next to. Or that also surfs that relates to me personally.
I think that's, something maybe subjective to you, like what you want out of your board builder.
If the glasser comes outside in the parking lot, I can talk to him.
Yeah, that type of thing. But I mean, for us, going back to it.
I'll put my own.
Like for us, like going back to it, it's like, this is, Jeff Morgan said it the best. It's like the last mass-produced handmade item, one of the last mass-produced handmade items in America. We're trying to get back to bringing industry back to America so America could stand alone and not be so reliant on other countries to survive and sustain. I mean, it's a surfboard. It ain't a car or the railroad or whatever the hell, you're thinking big industry is, but it is one of those things. And yes, generally in all these factories, these guys are surfers, grew up in the culture, know it. They talk it, walk it, whatever you want to be. Overseas, I can't speak for them. I ain't never seen in there.
I don't think I've ever seen
there could be 7-year-old boys in there shaping surfboards. For all I know, I've never seen a video of it. You know, they could be dumping sludge in the river behind the factory and still claiming it to be eco. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
we'll never know. But it's one of those things. At the end of the day, we all got to survive. Everybody's got to make their money. How much money do you want to make? You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You know, and it's like going back into, will you guys go overseas? Will you do this or that? Or have we ever been approached? It's one of those things. It's like, you know, like, I guess, how much money do you want to make? You know, what makes you comfortable? Did you just finish your plate of food and you're hungry and you're going to get another plate and not be able to finish it and then throw all that away?
Yeah.
So, you know, and you got to put that in perspective. It's like, how much do you want? What do you want in it all? You know what I'm saying? And I think of these guys, there's a lot of money being made or starting to getting made, and then they want more of it. So how do you do that? You go over, you know. So that's something, you know, that you know, it's hard for us to chew.
It's like America corporate greed type thing. Like, okay, how do we make more money? Okay, we build our product for way cheaper.
Right.
And we sell it for way more. Like, it's just like normal, like corporate business type
Yeah,
thing,
and don't get us wrong. We are a business. You know,
Yes.
we have to make money.
Yes.
And we talk all the time like, hey, man, like, wouldn't it be nice that we had another product where I don't have to be in that room all day? Will doesn't be up front talking on the phone all day dealing with the customers. That is a lot less hard on us, less hard to build, and we're able to sell it. And, you know, we have explored things that are made here, you know, different kind of, you know, from clothing to something like that. We have other products. Yes, we want to create other products. We want to maximize margin, you know, profits and have that presented.
We're a business,
Yeah.
you know, but it's not like that full corporate greed type thing where you're like, you know, let's make a surfboard for $25 and sell it for $800 or whatever it may be. That's it's absurd, you know? So it's just like the model that we're using right now is working. Everyone's, you know, making money.
And they're having fun on the product.
You know, the artisanship is still there in some form or another. So, yeah, let's run with it.
Right on. All right, you guys. Well, anything else we want to talk about?
Yeah, if you're in North County, San Diego, come out to our 20-year anniversary.
Oh, yeah, that's what. Yeah.
Yes. We're gonna have. It's gonna be a bash. Come out. We're feeding you and letting you drink. Well, we're gonna have DJ Stess One from People Under the Stairs there, local DJ Chaps One, and then also one of the number one MCs in San Diego, DJ Blame One. They'll be spinning records. We're gonna have Fish 101 supplying some pokey.
Ooh.
Buccaneer
Cafe is going to be doing the catering.
Sick.
And we're doing a combination with Bachan's barbecue sauce, which is this awesome Japanese barbecue sauce that it's going to be going on over everything. And
Friday.
Friday
September 2nd.
Yeah, everybody's invited. And we're feeding you. If we run out of food, but if you get here early enough, you're going to eat and drink and be able to hang.
Is there beer?
Oh, there'll be beer.
There'll be beer.
Yeah.
Jason's got his local ice cream truck coming out. Oh, for the niños. The little niños will get their ice cream.
So it should be fun. So yeah, we're celebrating 20 years. We're inviting the community. It's like, come on down. We'll feed you smiles. It's basically a thank you to the community. And we're showing you our gratitude for supporting us for these 20 years. If you like us, if you don't like us, still you're invited. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Haters are welcome.
Yeah, we love it.
All right, guys. This is Mike with Will and Jason, and we're out of here. All right. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Yep, see ya.
See ya.
Foot out, jerk food. 100 racks on a surf, dude. Slippery, big guns like Mark Food. Trap jumping like a kangaroo. 100 foot out, jerk food. 100 racks on a surf, dude. Slippery, big guns like Mark Food. Trap jumping like a kangaroo. You know we don't fuck with no kooks. You boo on my didgeridoo. They calling me dude. I'm stacking the loot. I'm ripping your chick in the coop. She grabbing a hold of my leggy. They jelly, they Gucci my weddy. The fridge of Giuseppe, the chain is so heavy. She think that I'm charging the Eddie. 100 foot out, choke food. 100 racks on a surf, dude. Slippery, big guns like Mark Food. Trap jumping like a kangaroo. 100 foot out, choke food. 100 racks on a surf, dude. Slippery, big guns like Mark Food. Trap jumping like a kangaroo. Surf trap, I'm stacking that money. Your shorts a red Ferrari. He starts to calling me Dundee. Diamonds are surfing McFlurry. She want me to teach her to surf. Splash, I'm pulling up, ripping the verse. I'm leaving these kooks in the hearse. They get moved 100 foot on their head, they get work. 100 foot out, choke food. 100 racks on a surf, dude. Slippery, big guns like Mark Food. Trap jumping like a kangaroo. 100 no cooks. You know we don't fuck with no cooks. You calling me dude, I'm stacking the loot. I'm ripping your chick in the coop. You know we don't fuck with no cooks. You know we don't fuck with no cooks. They calling me dude, I'm stacking the loot. I'm ripping your chick in the coop.
Hey, you guys, Endless Summer box set. This thing is legit. It's authentic, numbered certificate in it. It has a 5-frame film strip from the original print. You will literally own a piece of history. It has a specially minted bronze medallion. Dude, that thing's sick. Okay, there's so much more here. Go to the show notes. There's a link on there. Go check this piece of history out. This thing's rad. Seriously. Smithsonian American History Museum has it. It took 4 years of research with 3.5 in production, all hand assembled. This thing's rad. There's so much to this awesome box set. Remastered DVD, sharper images than the original film, but dude, this thing's so sick. Link in the show notes.